Championship against Braun Strowman Sunday at No Mercy on the WWE Network.
I managed superstar Billy Graham in Chicago. And one night, Ivan Putski slammed me on top of you, and you had so many bumps on your body, it hurt my back for a month. And I managed Harley Race in 1968. When I found out I was going to be here tonight to be inducted with Harley, knowing Harley, I thought we were going to be indicted. But this man, we had more fun together, and he is one tough man. Believe me, one tough man. The things he's been through in life, 6 or 7, how many times world champion? Harry, wake up and I'll throw dirt on you. 8 times heavyweight champion of the world. Excellent. Then I managed Bob Remus. As we went down the back roads in Peoria, just laughing, knowing our wives would never believe we were riding with 4 fat girls, taking us to the airport so we could save 20 bucks. He says to me, if this car flips and we're dead, they're never going to believe us. Then he said, Bobby, stop it. You've made them all laugh, and they've only got 7 teeth. And that was counting us. And then I went from there to manage it, and everybody they threw in front of me in the WWE. Oh, excuse me, did I say something? Wait, let me get this now. You want to talk about wildlife? When I came here, they had the 3 Freebirds. They had the Junkyard Dog, Mad Dog, 2 Bulldogs, a guy with a Matilda, another dog. There was a Junkyard Dog. You had insects. You had 2 killer bees. You had serpents. You had a guy with a snake. You had a Hawaiian guy with a lizard. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. And you ready for this? And to top it off, I'm the weasel doing commentary with a gorilla. Damn it.
Everybody, welcome to the From Pillar to Post Raw review show for the September 18th edition of Monday Night Raw. And also tonight, this show's dedicated, obviously, to the memory of Bobby the Brain Heenan, as Brawl was this evening. Quick story about Bobby the Brain Heenan, man. I mean, he's going to be missed. He already was missed. I think Tony Schiavone put it best on his podcast today, that the world was already missing him the last, decade because of his health issues and everything, prevented him from being the Bobby Heenan that we all loved and knew. It's funny, Rick Hendrickson always used to joke about Bobby Heenan and, always used to say, well, his jaw fell off, just joking. And Rick was a huge Bobby Heenan fan. But he always used to joke about Heenan and how fitting is it that we've... I guess karma's a bitch, because Rick, Bobby Heenan outlived you. For all those times it was only by a month or 2. But Bobby Heenan outlived you. Karma's a bitch, I guess. So who knows? Maybe Rick Hendrickson and maybe Rick Hendrickson is, if there is an afterlife, he's there in it, and listening to Bobby and Monsoon call a match. So, I have a really big Bobby Heenan story here. This and I told this on the Rick Hendrickson tribute show, but I'm going to tell it again here. And this shows you how, I've been doing this a long time, about 12 years. In about 2006 or 2007, Rick and I had the opportunity to interview Bobby the Brain Heenan. We had called him. We set up the interview. Everything was all good. And we called him again the night of the interview, and everything was good. And he's like, hold on, he wanted to have I remember he wanted to have a beer during the interview. He's like, hold on, I got to grab a beer. So he comes back on the phone. All right, now I'm ready. Let's get started. And Rick and I start asking him questions. And this shows you how green I was in this business at the time. The podcasting business, the internet radio business. And Rick asks a question about what it was like to manage Big John Studd. I believe it was at WrestleMania 1. And me being so stupid, I thought that I was under the prime I was under the impression that Bobby Heenan had not managed Big John Studd, that he was managing Andre that night, and he wasn't. He was managing Studd. And me and Rick embarrassingly begin to argue about this on the air. And I guess Bobby had enough. And Bobby being Bobby goes, guys, nice talking to you. Let me know when you get your shit together. And he hung up the phone. And we got hung up on by Bobby the Brain Heenan. Didn't even get the first question out of the way. That just shows you how young and green and stupid I was, huh? So it was my fault. So we're sitting there scrambling on the air. Oh my God, it's the biggest interview ever. We had interviewed every TNA talent imaginable at that time. We interviewed AJ Styles. We interviewed Christopher Daniels. We interviewed Gail Kim. We interviewed Loki. We've interviewed everybody, BG James, Kip James, anybody you could possibly want to interview for TNA, we were doing it. But Bobby Heenan was like my biggest get. Bobby Heenan was the one that I wanted to interview the most. And he hung up on us because of my making a stupid mistake. And we're scrambling around. We try calling back, get no answer. And I immediately shut the show down. I immediately shut the feed down, which was a mistake on my part because I had coincidentally, unintentionally created a good bit. And it was probably the very first meme that I ever saw. This is back before memes were a thing. So we canceled the show that night. We don't do a show at all. Me and Rick are arguing back and forth at whose fault it was, and it was my fault. It was my fuck up. And a week later, one of our listeners sends us a picture, emails it to me. Says this has got to be on the show's website. And I opened it up, and I had a picture on my Facebook page, or actually it was MySpace at the time, it was Facebook, of me and my girlfriend at the time, who would later go on to be my wife, who would later go on to be my ex-wife, hugging each other. And somebody took this damn thing, this damn picture, and they had photoshopped Rick Hendrickson in place of my girlfriend. So it looked like me and Rick were hugging each other. And they put us hugging in a classroom, like a classroom setting with a chalkboard in the background. And me and Rick are hugging each other, and on this chalkboard, it has Pillar to Post monthly ratings, or P2P Live monthly ratings. And, it has, low-key interview, 50 listeners, and has the AJ Styles interview, 500 listeners. And then the very peak of the interview was it says Hennan hang-up call, 10,000 listeners. And then the very next week it was no guest, and it spiked right down to the bottom. So Bobby Heenan is directly responsible for one of the first memes that I can ever remember seeing on the internet. And two, probably one of the greatest lessons that I learned when it came to interviewing people is do your fucking research. If it's one thing I could give advice to for anybody who ever interviews anybody, in whether it be for wrestling, entertainment, music, anything, do your damn research. Because they're quick to call you out on it, or in some cases, hang up on you. We're going to take a quick little break here. And when we come back, I am probably going to go ahead and get into Monday Night Raw here. But Bobby's going to be missed, man. I'm going to miss seeing him. Thank God we got the network here. Here is Jim Ross commenting on Bobby the Brain Heenan on his Ross Report podcast, and we'll be right back.
I mentioned earlier, when we saw each other the last time in Vegas, we had lunch down in downtown, the Fremont Street area. We kind of rebooked all the territories in wrestling, just so you guys will know.
For about the last 3 decades.
Yeah, we got rid of a lot of people, gave a lot of guys their notice. We screwed a few people in their payoffs. We lied to everybody that could.
Yep.
But generally, the best time was talking about our friend Bobby Heenan, because you can't talk about Bobby at some point in the thought process and not smile. Even though today he's undergoing some challenging times with his health, but still in his hour of challenges, you can't help but smile when you bring him up. And you got to have. How was it working with him in WCW, Mike? You guys did a lot of live shows together, right?
Yeah, we sure did. We did a lot of live shows, live show every Monday night, live pay-per-view events, and
I mean, I knew you were on the air. I'm making it sound stupid, but
right, no. But I'm saying, as you know, when it comes to live TV, there's nobody better than the Brain, and we all have a different way that we approach the job. You and I are more of preparation guys.
Yeah.
Big on preparation. Mm-hmm. Would rather not.
When I mentioned earlier, when we saw each other.
Sorry about that, folks. A little technical difficulty there, but that was Bobby Heenan and Mike Tenay talking about Jim Ross and Mike Tenay talking about Bobby Heenan. Sorry, my mouth is falling down the stairs tonight. We're gonna play a couple more little tributes to Bobby Heenan here throughout the show. I'll try to get that one back for you guys. But let's get into Raw tonight. Let's get into Monday Night Raw. They were in San Jose, California tonight. And it was a decent show. It wasn't a bad show by any means. There was a lot of ups and downs on this show, as there is every week. We open up with a graphic showing the in memory of Bobby the Brain Heenan. One thing I miss, man, is I miss the 10-bell salutes that they would do. I really do. I really miss the 10-bell salutes that they would do for guys like this. And if there was ever a guy that needed one and deserved one, it's Bobby. But Kurt Angle makes his way to the ring. He welcomes everybody to Raw, reminds them they're 6 days away from No Mercy. And The Miz interrupts him as he's running down the card for No Mercy. And basically the gist of here is, they're making Kurt out to be a bad father. They're going back to you're a bad father, and Jason Jordan's a bastard. And Kurt says that tonight, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, Elias, and Jason Jordan will be in a fatal four-way match to see who faces The Miz at No Mercy, because Miz was talking about how this is the second Raw pay-per-view in a row or the second pay-per-view in a row where the Intercontinental title is not up for, not in a match. So we have, Miz then says if you want to put a bad guitar player or the Hardys to have a shot, that's fine. There's too many people to deserve a shot ahead of Jason Jordan, which is true. That the only reason why Jason Jordan's getting a spot is because he's Kurt Angle's son. Says that Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel have done so much and they're always leapfrogged over. So Miz asks Kurt if Jason Jordan gave him a world's greatest father mug, and if that's why he's in the match. I thought that line was pretty funny. Miz says that Kurt says he hopes Miz will change when he becomes a father, And Miz is like, yeah, I will. I'll be there from day one, and my kid will never have to ask why Daddy didn't want me. And that brings out Jason Jordan. And Jason Jordan asks the Miz if he's, says, hey, if you say anything else about Kurt, I'm going to knock your teeth down your throat. And Jason tells Kurt that he has a suggestion. He tells Kurt to put Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel in the match so Miz doesn't have any excuses when he wins. And Kurt, Miz reminds Jordan that he's given himself the worst chance to win and that he's incompetent like his father. And, of course, then that leads Jordan to attack Axel and Dallas. And so now we have a six-pack challenge tonight for the number one contendership for the Intercontinental title. Should have done this 2 weeks ago. Really should have done this about a week or two ago. I like the segment. It made sense. Glad to see the six-pack challenge. And I'm glad to see it main eventing Raw. Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. Well, here's what I don't get about Nia Jax. I'm going to say this again. When it comes to Nia Jax, you have her come out last week in street clothes. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm in no position to tell someone what to wear. I'm in no position to call someone out on their weight because, well, if you've seen me, you know. But Nia Jax last week looked so beautiful in her street clothes. She looked so beautiful. She even put more photos on her Twitter last week of her in a bathing suit. She looked beautiful, gorgeous woman. And yes, she has made some changes to her ring gear. She has some like see-through lace on where her cleavage area is now. But she's still, for the most part, wearing that goddamn sausage suit that makes her gain 30 pounds every time we see her in it. Why have they not told her to change her ring gear? Goddamn, pal. If there was ever a Vince break-in, this needs to happen on his part. It so needs to happen on his part. So they come back, they go to a commercial, and then they come back here, and they have a match with Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. I didn't get to see most of this match because, again, every Monday night, I'm in charge of cooking and doing the dishes because that's what good boyfriends do. I get my wrestling on the big TV in the living room as long as I cook dinner and wash the dishes. That's a compromise I make. But I did come back in time for the finish. It was a decent finish. And I did come back for them. So the winner is Nia Jax. Nia has just pinned the Raw Women's Champion. And after the match, Sasha Banks comes out of nowhere, piggybacks on Nia and chokes her and punches her. And Nia with a snapmare to Sasha Banks. Snapmares are over. And then all of a sudden, before Nia can destroy Sasha or Alexa, Bayley's music hits. We're back in San Jose, Bayley's hometown, and Bayley's music hits. She runs her way to the ring, and did Bayley do some training in the time off, man? She looks more muscular now for some reason. She looks better now than before she had the injury. So Bayley gets on the apron, enters the ring, and they all triple spear Nia and take her down out of the ring. Which I think that's good. If you had to get Nia out of the equation, you need to do it this way. Nia still comes off looking like a badass beast. So then Sasha and Bayley separate, and Alexa sneaks in, and they do the hand raise thing, but Sasha kicks Bayley, and Bayley hits with a Bayley to belly, and they're cheering in the ring, and Bayley does some little rotations with her arm and her shoulder to prove that the injury's gone, and we go to commercial. Good segment. Like the fact that Bayley's back. What I don't like is the fact now that Emma, they put Emma in this program as a placeholder anyway. And then they what do? Again, we get another 6-woman match. We get every woman in the women's division it's one versus all in the women's division again. We got Bayley, Nia, Alexa, Sasha, and Emma. So it's 5 women. Excuse me. 5 women. So now we got a fatal 5-way now. I'm sick of seeing this all versus one shit. Or this put every woman in the division, in a match at the pay-per-view. Stop. It's getting old. So we take a look at the Universal title match coming up next, and we have but first we have some of the comments about the passing of Bobby Heenan, and they show a lot of tweets, which were awesome. I like how they did that. We see comments from 2002 by Paul Heyman about Brock Lesnar, and we see, old footage of Lesnar. And then we see Braun's Path of Destruction. Good little video packages here. So basically they run down this match and tell the tale of Brock and Braun. Sheamus and Cesaro are in the ring, and Sheamus talks about nostalgia and how it's everywhere, and all of you love nostalgia. And Cesaro ends up going off book here, I think. Talking about the what chants and everything. When the music stops and the fun ends, nostalgia will fade and the truth will roll in, and that's what Seth and Dean and that's that Seth and Dean can't stand each other. I like Cesaro's mic work here. I don't care if he deviated from script. It was good. So Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose come out, and basically then we end up getting a triple threat match with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows call everybody nerds and all the, I don't know what they, nerd used to be a term of putting someone down, but nowadays it's a term of endearment, and clearly whoever's writing these promos are not up with the times. To be a nerd now is a good thing, guys. Hate to burst your bubble. So they cut promos all back and forth, and then we get a video feature on Asuka. We got a couple of those tonight, which was okay, except for the second one when they did the Japanese, I think it was a Shangshu quote. And I'm like, oh my God, they're turning her into a geisha girl. You watch. I guarantee you. Her first match on TV, she's jobbing, guys. I hate to break it to you. Asuka's first match. As hot as she is coming up from NXT, they're going to hammer the stake into you NXT guys' hearts even further when they further prove to you again that whatever happened down there doesn't fucking matter. So why are you even watching it? They're going to job her ass out, whether it be by hook or by crook, whether it be by DQ, interference, pinfall, whatever. Mark my freaking words, Asuka is losing her first match on the main roster. She's not going to have a long undefeated streak, trust me. And they've already told you that NXT doesn't make sense because here's the deal. Asuka's already beaten everybody on the fucking main roster anyway, so what's the point of her coming in? She hasn't, I don't think she beat the likes of, Charlotte or Becky Lynch, the four horsewomen. She really never really had matches against them. But mark my words, she's not going undefeated. She's not going to get treated the same. Don't get your hopes up about this. They're going to turn her into a geisha girl gimmick within 6 months. Mark my word. The fact that they did that quote about being, soundless and all that tells me that she's never going to get a chance to grab a fucking microphone. I'm telling you, it's coming. So then their second match of the night, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Sheamus and Cesaro versus Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. I liked this match, actually. I liked the commentary on this match, and that they got all the bullshit commentary talking about their storylines and everything out of the way during the first segment. And the last half of this match was the commentators calling moves. Commentators calling spots. Kudos to the commentary in this match. At the latter half of this match, Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Booker T were on their game here. And the three teams, Gallows and Anderson, Sheamus and Cesaro, Seth and Dean were awesome during this match. Go back and watch this match. This is match of the night for me. It was damn good. The winners are Sheamus and Cesaro. I can't say enough about how good this match was. I mean, it's go back and watch it. I'll say it right now. You need to go back and watch this because it was damn good. The Miz is in the locker room and he's telling Bo and Curtis The Six Packs Challenge is a way to show his critics and to stick it to Kurt Angle, and they'll see his son fail again. And Bo's like, look, I used to, spare me. I used to give inspirational speeches, but it should be about us, Bo and Curtis. And they talk about their lineage. And, Curtis says he's not going to take it easy at No Mercy. Bo says he's going to win on Sunday. So they did a fairly decent job. It wasn't the best thing in the world, but they did a fairly decent job of putting the thought into people's minds that, hey, we could see this team here crumble apart. We could see a new Intercontinental Champion on Sunday, no matter who wins this match. Video package of John Cena and Roman Reigns. We get footage of John Cena and OVW in 2002 and Roman Reigns and FCW in 2012. 10 years apart. How about that? It's a good story. We see both of them winning the Rumble, both of them winning the title, Roman Reigns beating The Undertaker. We move on to the recent promo war between them, and then we go to commercial. Kurt Angle's on the phone, and Goldust is standing in his office, and he's not wearing face paint. He wants a chance to be a man. Fight, like a man against Bray Wyatt. He doesn't want to do it as the gimmick. He says he's the man behind the paint, Dustin Rhodes. And he said he's known each other for 20 years, and Kurt knew his dad, and he wants to show he's not a pawn in Bray Wyatt's game. I liked this promo. I liked everything Dustin Rhodes did on this show. I will tell you right now, we used to say this about Dustin Rhodes. Anytime Dustin Rhodes would try to be something other than Goldust, it wouldn't work. And it wouldn't. But now, and I hate to put it like this, but since his dad passed away, and since Cody's doing everything he's doing out on the indies, and based off this match tonight, Dustin Rhodes is fucking over. Dustin Rhodes is over like Rover, man. And yes, he can do the damn Goldust moveset and still be Dustin Rhodes. But, Vince McMahon, it's not going to happen. We'll get to that match here in a minute, though. Kurt gives him the match. Kurt Hawkins is in the ring and talks about his 114 match losing streak coming to an end. So he says he's feeling good, and he says his opponent will be nothing more than a footnote in history to the trivia question about who did Kurt Hawkins lose to and end his losing streak, and out comes Apollo Crews. And we get a decent match here. Kurt Hawkins actually looked pretty good here. Apollo Crews looked good here. Titus O'Neil looking good here in his manager role. I don't got a bad thing to say about this other than the fact of, do you think Kurt Hawkins is the next JTG? In that we end up never seeing him, but he remains under contract. Apollo Crews gets the win. They make a note of making you know that, hey, Hawkins is now at 115 losses. Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar in separate rooms. Michael Cole's doing the interviewing here. And this is the weakest segment on the show, if you ask me. This was the weakest segment on the show because it's more of the same. It's the same damn Paul Heyman promo. It's the same Braun Strowman, I'm a monster amongst men. It's the same Suplex City bitch. It's the I'm going to destroy you. I got your number. You're the underdog. Blah, 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 blah. Proof is in the work with these two. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're trying. Both of these sides did a good job, but this needed to happen again. This needed to happen a week ago. You got the same thing with Paul Heyman cutting the promo and then Brock Lesnar. Oh, Brock's going to speak. Brock's going to speak. The Vanilla Gorilla is going to speak. Then he just says Suplex City, bitch, and walks off. Boring. It's getting old. That's why I hope Braun wins and Brock takes a long-ass vacation and we don't see him till Mania time. And we're back and we're told Bayley has been added to the women's title match on Sunday. Roman makes his way to the ring. Now, here's where I have a problem with the sensitive universe tonight. Braun says John Cena might be the best talker ever. He can run his mouth and he can spin it, but sometimes he says some stupid shit. And of course they bleep shit. Says that to say that he is the next John Cena. Says, do I look like some white guy with a crew cut? If I did, I would not have a career. Just ask Alex Riley. Ooh. And then you have, this is a good little promo by him. He doesn't have to talk like John Cena. John Cena's the biggest hypocrite ever. And if you don't believe me, John's going to tell you himself. And we see a promo from Raw of 2012, in February of 2012, when he commented on The Rock being a part-timer. This is what they should have been doing all along. They're 2 weeks too late for this. Of course, San Jose, should I bring John Cena out? And it's not loud enough because John Cena's not here. It's a good way to get Roman over. It puts the heat on Roman Reigns. Or it puts Roman Reigns over, makes Roman look strong going into the pay-per-view. But if you look at the way WWE traditionally books things, whoever goes over on the go-home show generally loses at the pay-per-view. Roman says, I'll see you next time, San Jose. And we'll see John Cena on Sunday. And Roman calls him a movie star, and there we go. It was a good promo. I like the fact that they're calling back the old shit. You get these fans on Twitter. And this is the problem I have with the Sensitive Universe tonight. The Sensitive Universe is like, it was too shooty. It's all these silly shoot promos. I'm sick of this silly shoot stuff. Yet these are the same fans. The same fans. Who week after week after week go, I'm sick of the PG stuff. I'm sick of the kids crap. Why can't they make it more real? Why can't they shoot a little bit more? Why can't they make it more reality based? Meh. Get over yourselves, guys. Get over yourselves. Bray Wyatt makes his way to the ring for the match. Before that, Renee Young's in the back with the Hardys, and they talk about how they grew up fighting each other, and Matt says that he's in the match. Jeff says, may the best Hardy win, and we get a couple of Brother Nero and wonderful, delightful references. Get this. The Broken Hardys are never coming. Get over it. I've given up hope now. Bray Wyatt versus Dustin Rhodes. I like this match. It was very good. Bray let Dustin get a lot of shit in here in this match. I like the way it ended with a snap, with a Sister Abigail out of nowhere. Dustin even got to hit the Shattered Dreams. They pointed out the fact that he kicked him in the thighs. It's crazy. They point that out here. But going back to that triple threat tag match, there was one spot in the tag match that really kind of ticked me off. I think it was Ambrose tagged Rollins in at one point. And anyway, there was some sort of thing where Rollins tagged Ambrose, or Ambrose tagged Rollins, and the guy who was coming into the ring could not get to the opponent because of the fact of the other guy was blocking him because he was trying to get out of the ring. And it looked like a total little botched spot there. But the commentary could have sold that by saying, hey, these two haven't teamed up in a long time, and they may be tag team champions. But, they still got to get used to teaming again. And it's little awkward things like that they still got to work out. Just saying. It's little things like that that can tell a story and it still be color commentating. And Corey Graves, who's a former tag team champion in NXT, would know better than anybody what that's like, eh? What about Booker T? Come on. So anyway, Sister Abigail 3 count. Bray Wyatt wins, and after the match, Balor appears on the Titantron and talks about how he has a story and how where all the cool kids were out in Ireland were playing. He was reading books about gods and monsters. If the demon is the creation of man, which one is more dangerous? And no mercy, he's going to find out. It was an okay promo. Too scripted. Not like Finn Balor should be. But they've ruined him already. They have. Jeff Edwards came on this channel and said, hey, 6 months from now, you're all going to talk about how they've ruined him. Well, guess what? They've ruined him. Just another NXT guy that they've ruined. Michael Cole talks about Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon on Raw, and we have a video feature of Bobby the Brain Heenan, which was very well done. Very well done. It made me laugh. Made me cry. Sad. I don't like, this one to me hurts because he was my... Cornette will always be my favorite manager, but he was damn sure second, if not tied with Cornette. So, it was really a really good video package. Really good video package. And, I was happy to see it. I like how WWE tonight on their Twitter page is not revealing most of the big segments from Raw. They haven't put the Braun Strowman thing up yet. They put the tag match up yet. Or they really haven't put really many quote-unquote matches up there. I like it. Because I thought they would have had the shit from the main event up already, and they haven't. Anyway, back to Raw here. Neville, Enzo's in the locker room. Getting ahead of myself here. After the Bobby Heenan feature, we're in the back, and Enzo comes out and says he's feeling good, but he's going to be doing great after No Mercy when he knocks Neville off his perch and becomes the Cruiserweight Champion. And then you hear Braun, and Enzo sells it well. I'll give him credit. And he knocks Enzo down, and I think the problem, what hurt Enzo here, is when he fell backwards, his lower back crunched right up against that damn microphone that he carries out with him. So Braun comes down and he drags Enzo, hits Enzo, drags him, throws him in the ring, chokeslams Enzo, picks up Enzo, hits a running power slam, all the while the crowd chants, "Thank you, Strowman." Because they're sick of seeing Enzo too. Braun leaves the ring. Neville's music plays. He comes out and makes sure not to piss off Strowman. Did a good job staring each other down. Didn't know whether, hey, big guy, it's okay. I like it. I like it. Neville comes to the ring, hits the red arrow on Enzo, takes the mic and goes, "How you doing?" and laughs. Really maniacally. I like it. It's the best promo Neville's cut in I don't know how long. We come back. Enzo's in the locker room, and Promobot 5000. I've lost track of their names. The only one that I can remember is Kathy Kelly and Renee Young at this point. So we'll call all the women, and that's not a knock on these women. It's a knock on how WWE produces these women. Henceforth, all backstage interviewers, man and woman alike, except for Renee and Kathy, will be known as Promobot 5000. So Promobot 5000's in the back with Enzo in the locker room. And Promobot 5000, asks him how he's doing. And Enzo goes, "How do you think I'm doing? I can't compete with that monster, but I can't compete with Neville. I'm going to win my title back." And Promobot 5000 watches as he limps off the table and walks away. And Promobot 5000 stares into the distance. Aimlessly. Like a good Promobot should. Neville versus Grand Metalik in a non-title match. It ends with Neville, of course, hitting the rings of Saturn. And they do a thing after this match for Latino, women, Latino Heritage Month. After the luchador rips his mask in the ring and has half his face exposed. I know, it was an accident. They didn't mean to do it. They didn't call to it on commentary either. But Neville versus Metalik. Hey, at least the Metalik is on TV now. And Elias comes out and he's going to sing a song. And, so the Hardy Boys interrupt him. And then we have our six-way match to end Monday Night Raw. It was a damn good match, actually. Really good. You had Miz getting involved and hitting Jason Jordan on the outside, throwing him into the barrier, and puts Jason Jordan out until the finish. The finish saw Curtis with a neck snapmare driver, but Jason Jordan with a pop-up neck breaker for the 3 count. So Jason Jordan comes in, and it's important that he gets a win over a member of the Miztourage. That makes sense here. Matt and Jeff Hardy early on, trying to pin each other. That was good. The star of this match to me was Elias, surprisingly. Elias doing that leap up to the turnbuckle and really getting some good moves here and looking damn good here. I liked Elias in this match. Dude can actually fucking work when he wants to. How about that? Kudos to all 6 guys in this match. They all bumped their ass off. They all worked their ass off. And it was a good closing segment to the show. After the match, Miz comes into the ring, gets in Jordan's face, and he just does the slow clap. Jordan moves, and, Jordan, he tries to punch Jordan, but Jordan moves, hits 2 belly-to-bellies. And then Axel and Bo then come in and attack Jason Jordan. Bo and Curtis pass Jordan to the midge for the skull-crushing finale. Miz says after No Mercy, he will still be the champion. Kurt Angle will still be a terrible father. And you will still be a bastard. And they all laugh and raise their hands in the air as we go to credits. Good segment. I liked it. There really was nothing wrong with this show. They're really, except for the Bray Wyatt thing up on the Tron, PromoBot 5000 running in. It was a good show. The good far outweighed the bad here. The Apollo Crews segment, I felt they didn't really need to do that at all. That could have been totally omitted for like another, I don't know. They could have given Emma a match against Bayley in her return. They could have given Emma versus Bayley. Yes, you're going to have Emma probably beat Bayley or Bayley beat Emma in that match. Because we all know that Emma is there Sunday just to take that pinfall. But overall, it was a damn decent episode of Monday Night Raw. Really don't have that much bad to say about it tonight. Good show. Good go home. Some of the angles for the go home show, granted this is the go home show, and some of these angles they probably should have done a week ago or 2 weeks ago. But, if you look at this as it was an okay episode. I give it a thumbs up. Go watch that tag match. That triple threat tag match, man, was really good. It was really good. It's not Dave Meltzer 5-star New Japan swoon. It's nothing that big. But if you take your head out of those clouds, come back down to earth, it was okay. CWF FanCon comes your way October the 13th and 14th in Gibsonville, North Carolina. For details how to attend, see John Philip Havage on Twitter at John Philip Havage or JB at JBryant025 on Twitter. Or you could follow the official Twitter of the FanCon is at, I believe it's at FanCon CWF. And details are scrolling along. Get this, the FanCon. There's only 2 parts of this whole FanCon experience that require money. And that's the $5 or the $10 a head Friday night dinner that we're having. And the Rumble and the CWF Rumble match or show itself costs $10. $10 gets you a general admission seat. $25 for VIP and all you can eat concessions during the show. They're going to have free Q&As. I'm going to be a part of Podcast Alley. There are going to be panels and more. So again, CWF FanCon coming your way October 13th and 14th. That's a Friday and Saturday. Friday the 13th. Ooh. In Gibsonville, North Carolina. See John Philip Havage. Or just the better way yet, just do the FanCon thing. At FanCon CWF on Twitter. That's at FANCON CWF on Twitter. And join us. We're less than a month away. I am so excited for this, guys. I am so excited for this. We're going to play a little bit more remembering Bobby the Brain Heenan here. Here is Wrestling with Regrets by Brian Zane. And he's going to talk a little bit about Bobby the Brain Heenan here.
Hey there, humanoids. Brian Zane here. As many of you know by now, it was reported on Sunday that Bobby the Brain Heenan, legendary manager and color commentator, has died at the age of 73. At the time of this recording, it's unknown what his official cause of death was, but Heenan had been battling throat cancer since 2002. For fans of a certain vintage, this news is particularly heartbreaking. Those who grew up in the 80s watching wrestling, watching Bobby Heenan. But really, it's sad news for all wrestling fans and everyone in the business, because I think that anyone who's entered the wrestling business over the last 30 or 40 years, I'd say, owes something to Heenan, because he was such a huge part of wrestling history and so massively influential. He was best known for managing Nick Bockwinkel in the AWA before signing with the WWF in 1984. Where he'd go on to manage Andre the Giant against Hulk Hogan and Rick Rude against Ultimate Warrior, and he was the center of the Heenan family. That was his stable, although he famously said he didn't call it a stable because you put horses in a stable, so this was the Heenan family. And the roster in the family was always in flux, but Heenan was always at the center of that. Then he would eventually transition to color commentary, most notably with Gorilla Monsoon, and there aren't enough adjectives in the English language to describe just how perfect this pairing was and how great a chemistry these two had over the years. And there have been lots of other great duos in commentary and wrestling who have been able to come close to how good this pairing was, but no one's been able to exceed what Gorilla and Heenan were able to accomplish. A few years ago, I thought to myself, well, who was Hulk Hogan's biggest rival in the 80s? Some might say it was Roddy Piper. Others might even argue it was Andre the Giant. But I would even say that Heenan was Hogan's biggest rival at that time, because, Heenan was the constant against Hogan. He was constantly throwing wrestlers at Hogan, trying to dethrone him and kill off Hulkamania once and for all. But he was never able to succeed. And when you think about it, wrestling in the 80s was a giant cartoon. And what's more 80s cartoon than like the valiant, dashing, blonde hero going against like this physically diminutive but mentally brilliant boss who would keep throwing mini bosses at the hero? That's so 80s cartoon. It's obvious to me. Heenan was a man who you just loved to hate, and even then it was kind of hard to do that at times because he was so entertaining. I mean, he had jokes for days. He was so quick-witted. It's really one of the biggest tragic ironies I can think of, that a man who is best known for his quick wit and his way with words was unable to speak for the last decade of his life. But now his suffering is over, and I do believe he is in a better place now. After hearing the news of Heenan's death on Sunday, I went onto Twitter and I asked my followers to give me their favorite Heenan memories so we could talk about them in this video, and I got a lot of great responses. The vast majority of people responded saying their favorite Heenan memory was him calling the 1992 Royal Rumble match where Ric Flair enters at number 3 and goes on to win the whole thing and the championship in the process. It's just such a blatant homer for Ric Flair here because he's managing him at the time, and then when Flair wins the whole thing, he's just so happy. Really, what's brilliant about this, which is really, it's a magnum opus on commentary, what's brilliant about him calling this match here is not only so obnoxious and heelish of him to be acting that way on commentary, it's also so relatable. Because how many of you have watched like a fight or a football game or some sporting event where your guy is like down losing, you're depressed about it, you're down in the dumps, and like you're with friends and they're like talking shit about it to you and you tell them to shut up? Like that's what Heenan was doing here. And then when maybe your guy like poses a miraculous comeback and your team comes from behind to win the whole thing and you're just super elated and you're jumping up and down in your couch and you're rubbing it in everyone's faces. That's what Heenan did. It's just what so many people have done watching like sports in general, and like he captured that here. That's what's so brilliant about that performance.
And that was just a little bit of Brian Zane here from the Wrestling with Regret channel talking about Bobby the Brain Heenan. If you want to see the rest of that video, go over to Wrestling with Regret here on YouTube and check out his channel. Brian has a good channel there, a lot more subscribers than I do. So just be sure to go ahead and check him out there. You won't be disappointed with that. Folks, that's going to about do it for me tonight. Again, I'm sad over the passing of Bobby the Brain Heenan. I'm sorry that I haven't been around this much this week, and I'm sorry I didn't do a video yesterday talking about Bobby. I have been sick as a dog the last week and a half. I'm still trying to get over it here. So we will, I'll talk a little bit more about him on Wednesday on the CWF After Show. I'm going to skip tomorrow night. Because like I said, I'm still recovering from this stuff, but I felt like I needed to give you guys an okay show tonight. I know it wasn't the best Raw review I've done, but I gave you about an hour. I'm approaching 50 minutes here. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, show your love, follow us on Twitter. We're trying to get to 1,500 followers between Twitter and Instagram. The goal here for the channel is to get to that many followers so that we can open up a pro wrestling tee store. And it would be nice to have T-shirts for sale. I really would like that. So go ahead and check us out here on Twitter and give us a follow at Joe Pillar to Post. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you guys down the road.